Hey everybody, Doc here. It's been a minute since we did a fireside chat and talked about fishing, so I thought I'd take a minute and talk about fishing and something that's kind of near and dear to me, and I think it's kind of overlooked when we're in a fishing world and fishing community. So I want to upset some people and piss on some hearts and create a dialogue that's probably going to draw the lines down the middle, and there's going to be a left and there's going to be a right, but there's also facts and there's the truth. So I want people to understand something, and I'm going to throw some things out there in the form of questions and see if you guys can answer it yourself, because you kind of already know the answer. Does anybody out there know why in the deer hunting world we have to draw tags? Does anybody out there in the hunting world know why we have limits and types of limits for waterfowl? Does anybody out there know why when you go fishing in certain lakes you have slot limits and you can only keep certain size fish and you have to release certain size, or you can only keep one of a certain size? Does anybody know why when we go fishing there's strict limits on some fish and you can only keep them? Or in some lakes you go to there's only catch and release, or in some lakes you go to it's artificial only. Does anybody ever understand the concept of why these things were put into place? Okay, it's called management. What they're doing is trying to protect a resource. And there's a reason why they're trying to protect a resource. It didn't just come about itself. 9 times out of 10, the resource needed to be protected because of abuse. We as human beings were abusing the resource. We were overharvesting the resource, and we were creating a dangerous situation where it was not going to be able to reproduce in a fair amount of time to continue to provide that resource for us, okay? There are other circumstances where management was necessary due to lack of water or lack of food or harsh climate, or maybe the breeding populations weren't working, or disease. This is true. But by and large, the management processes are almost always to control the human from over-harvesting. When you look at lakes that put slot limits into place where you can only keep so many fish between 14 inches and 20 inches, you can only keep one trophy fish at over 20 inches, and you have to release everybody below 14 inches. That particular style of management is because of over-harvesting. They were taking too many trophy fish, okay? It's the truth. And they were damaging the species, and they were stunting them, okay? Now, why am I talking about this? Well, we're going to talk about Lake Mead, Lake Mojave, Lake Havasu, and Parker. Let's go to Mojave first. Let's go to Willow Beach. Willow Beach has a long history of catching big stripers. I mean big, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40-pound stripers. The problem is there's no slot limit. You can catch as many stripers as you want. You can catch 20 a day, okay? But it doesn't say that those fish have to be all 3-pounders or all 25-pounders. There's no governing factor there. So what we've run into is a problem where everybody's going trophy hunting, everybody's keeping these trophies. They're not catching and releasing them, okay? The quality striper bass that you're seeing on Havasu, on Mojave, are over decades and decades of good, solid fisheries. Now you have a very strong population of people that are going in there, and they're taking these fish and they're not returning them to the lake. They're keeping them. And when you start dealing with hundreds of people taking trophy fish out of a fishery with no management on size, what's happened today is it's harder and harder and harder to catch these trophy fish. You have to use self-restraint. You have to understand you're your own worst enemy. When you post on these fishing pages, oh, I went out to Willow Beach for 3 months and I didn't catch a fish over 2 pounds. Well, gee, did you ever wonder that, if everybody is out there trying to keep what they catch and not managing and self-control, you're going to lose the trophy fishery, and the fish are going to get smaller, and it's going to be harder to find the bigger fish. You have to self-control this. The Park Service probably will not institute a slot limit on striped bass on the Mojave, okay? They probably won't. So what that means is if you want to continue to catch trophy stripers at a willow, you're going to have to self-manage yourselves. You're going to have to suck it up, catch, photo, release. If the fish doesn't, come back to life when you put it back in the water due to your best efforts and the fish is going to die, then obviously you have to keep the fish. It's the humane thing to do. You don't want to litter the banks with a bunch of dead fish. But at the end of the day, your intent should always be to get the fish in as quickly as possible, take your photos, weigh it, measure it, and release it and revive it as quickly as possible. Good, solid management practices will protect that fishery for years to come. Stop abusing it, okay? It's just like when we go to the lake and we've seen areas of Lake Mead shut down because people abuse the area with garbage and junk and living out there homeless, okay? The Park Service had to come shut it down because you can't manage yourselves. You can't be a bunch of grown-ups and act like adults. You go out there and you act like pigs and you treat the environment like crap, and Big Brother has to come in and shut it down and kick you out. And then all of us have to suffer. This is exactly what's going to happen with our trophy striper fishery if we don't self-manage. Going down to Havasu, it's the same way with the red ear. If everybody's keeping the red ear, which is a trophy fishery at Havasu, okay, you're going to ruin it. Catch, photo, release. Protect, protect, protect. If we don't self-protect, we're going to lose these things. You go down to Parker, world-class smallmouth fishery. Protect it. Treat those smallmouth with the respect they deserve, manage them properly, release the trophies, keep the fish that are edible. A good smallmouth fish is about a 2.5 pound fish. If you want to keep it and eat it, about 2.5, maximum 3. The 4s, the 4.5s, the 5s, release them. Put the trophies back. If you want to eat the fish, keep the eaters. If you're going up to Lake Mead, it's kind of the same way with the largemouth. Okay, you can get stripers and largemouth and smallmouth all day long in Lake Mead. The trophies are rare on Lake Mead. You really have to protect them. But if you want to keep those fish, that's fine. Keep them, but keep the eaters. Keep the 2-pounders, 2.5-pounders, okay? Crappie, world-class fishery right now. Lake Mead's turning into a world-class crappie fishery. But I see photo after photo after photo of people out there catching 30, 40, 50 crappie. Guys, come on, stop it. You don't need 50 crappie. You don't. All right? Keep 10, keep 12, even keep 15. Put the rest back. Protect the fisheries so for years to come, we've got something to go back and enjoy. Put the little ones back. Keep only a couple of the really big ones and keep the middle ones. Self-management is key to protecting our fisheries. We have to be grown adults about this because you don't want Big Brother to step in. You don't want them to tell you what to do because if they do, you're not going to like the way the outcome ever happens. So again, my serious appreciation. Yes, keep fish to eat. I do. I'll keep my catfish. I'll keep my stripers. Occasionally I'll keep a largemouth or smallmouth, but I keep them in a range that they're eaters. I don't keep trophy fish unless they die on me. Trout's the same way. I'll keep a few eater fish, but I'm not going to keep trophy fish. It's like anything else. Quail hunting, rabbit hunting, duck hunting, deer, elk. There's a reason why they manage those systems so strictly. It's because we as humans abused it. And currently, it's happening again in our fisheries. We are abusing it. And Big Brother's going to step in, and he's going to step on your neck and tell you no. And then you're really going to whine, and you're really going to be pissed off, and you're really going to go, this isn't fair. Well, you know what? You did it to yourself. So if you don't self-manage, you don't grow up, and you don't realize the harm you're doing by not self-managing, then it's going to happen. That's Doc's word of the day. Out.